I don't like to do it on my wooden board, so I'm doing it here on this board, plastic, put that in the food processor. Now I have food processor on the brain. You can put that in the dishwasher. Hello friends, today I'm here to talk about rolled oats. I thought it would be interesting to share with you something maybe a little bit different to do with oats. It's a chicken breast coated in oats instead of breadcrumbs. So if you buy oats that are processed in a wheat-free environment, this can be a really great gluten-free option for a coating. So today's recipe starts with half a cup of rolled oats that get pulsed to like a pretty fine meal. Because this is replacing a breadcrumb, you want to break it down enough so that it will stick to your chicken. So get it nice and fully ground. So that's like a fine breadcrumb. I'm going to mix all the rest of the ingredients together in a small bowl because you get some other delicious flavorings. A quarter cup of unprocessed oats, or not food processed anyway, to add a little bit of texture. But you don't want all the oats to be this big because they won't stick and it won't give good coverage to the chicken breast. Quarter teaspoon each of salt and pepper. Quarter cup of grated, this is Grana Padano, which is a delicious nutty cheese, sort of similar to a Parmesan, but you can use Parmesan or you can use Pecorino Romano. The cheese not only adds flavor, but it also adds sticking power and browning power, quite honestly, to the mixture. And a couple tablespoons of parsley. I was supposed to add the cheese and the parsley and the salt and pepper to the food processor, which is why I didn't have a big bowl here to put all of this stuff in, because I was supposed to do it there. But I'm such a rebel that I'm doing it in this tiny bowl. And I'm gonna live with my decisions and figure it out. This platter is what I'm gonna dredge my chicken on. So I'm gonna just mix it over the platter so when it spills everywhere, it's okay. And then I'm just gonna pour it onto the platter. Haha, I did it. Set that aside for a second. So you can buy cutlets for this, but I'm gonna make my own. I don't like to do it on my wooden board, so I'm doing it here on this board, plastic. Put that in the food processor. Now I have food processor on the brain. You can put that in the dishwasher. It's supposed to be about a pound. It says 4 chicken breast halves, but these chicken breast halves are pretty large. Because these are pretty thick, before I pound them thinner, I'm going to butterfly, especially this really big one is very, very thick. In order to butterfly it, just cut into the thickest part with your knife and then fold it open. We say like a book, so that this part is sort of equal thickness to the thinnest part, right? That's what you're trying to do anyway. These seem like maybe they're okay. And then to pound them, I like to cover with a piece of plastic wrap. We want these to be about half an inch thick. These are gonna be sauteed, so you do want them pretty thin or they will cook unevenly, and if they're too thick, they'll take too long to cook and then they'll get dried out. So you want them quite thin. Okay. Ta-da! Give these a little drizzle with oil. This is gonna help the coating to stick. This is not the right tool for the job, but I'm doing it anyway. This is why we use kosher salt. You can pick it up and it sprinkles really evenly. It gets an even distribution. You can't do that with table salt. It doesn't work. It just slides through your fingers and then you get like one big clump of salt all in one spot. It's also less salty, so you can do this sort of like overall seasoning situation. This one, the center one is really, really big. I'm gonna cut that in half. I'm supposed to get about 4 cutlets, but that one was so big, I'm getting 2 cutlets out of one. Now coat. I'm gonna just transfer all of them to my plate with my coating. And then just coat the pieces in the mixture. If and when I finish, which is gonna be in a sec, and there's some left on the plate, I'll just pat that onto the top. 'Cause look at all this, oh my God, it's the mother load. Now I'm gonna transport these to the back where I'm going to cook them in a cast iron skillet. This cast iron skillet has been heating. It's really hot. Add a couple of tablespoons of oil and then swirl it around to coat the pan. You can see that it's really hot because it is smoking. That's okay. I do want that quick sear moment when I add the chicken, so I'm okay with a little bit of smoke. Add the chicken. You want to let them sit until they form a crust before you try to move them. If you try to move them before the crust is formed, they could tear. If all of the oil gets absorbed into the coating and it seems like it's just sort of sitting there in a dry pan, add a little bit more oil. You want to get it nice and crispy, browning. I'm going to turn them now. What you're looking for is like a nice golden brown, crunchy crust area. If your pan is not as big as my pan, you're gonna wanna do this in 2 separate batches. Add some more oil to your pan. You can wipe it out, actually, because sometimes the little bits of crumb, they stay in the pan, and then in your second batch, they'll start burning, or they might cause something to stick. So get them out, and then add some more oil to the pan. There's this little baby cutlet. That's the chef's snack. The cheese in there is really like crisping up. Have you guys ever had frico, where you just like put grated cheese into a pan and just it spreads out and then it turns into like a cracker? It's so good. That's sort of what's happening to the little bits in the pan. We're looking good. This little cute guy is the one for me. If you're not using a meat thermometer, the way to tell when your chicken is done is, well, you should do it with your finger, but I do it with a utensil sometimes. You should press it and it should feel like there shouldn't be any sponginess to it. It shouldn't feel bouncy, it should feel firm. And then you're pretty well sure that it's done. And then don't forget, meat will continue to cook when you take it off the heat and let it sit for a few minutes. Thinner things like cutlets and stuff like this, they don't have a ton of carryover, but like a roast or something has a ton. So to serve this, I'm gonna a little oil, some lemon, some greens. I mean, obviously you can do whatever you want. Any greens that you like. I might serve this with like a couple of lemon wedges too. If I wasn't serving it with salad or I was serving with some kind of, another vegetable, just cut wedges, lemon wedges on fried chicken, anything, so good. A little bit of olive oil, a little salt and pepper, give it a toss. This is just my go-to easiest dressing. At home, I make a salad dressing similar to this, but lemon juice and balsamic, Dijon mustard, salt and pepper, shake it and keep it in a jar on the counter. And then I always have delicious, fresh, homemade salad dressing. Some salad. Ta-da! I mean, I'm just gonna eat this little piece because this was the piece I've been eyeing since it came out of the thing. Really good, really crunchy. Salty umami-ness from that cheese. And it's a really, really interesting new way to use your pantry staple, rolled oats. Why don't you give it a try? Let me know if you make it, if you take a picture of it and tag me, maybe I'll re-gram it on my Instagram. I love to see when you guys are cooking my food. I really do. Give this recipe a try. Tell me if you like it in the comments below. Let me know other things that you want to see me do in the comments below. And as always, if you like recipes like this, click like and subscribe.